Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And on today's topic, what is triggering this video, I recently, well, not recently, this was like maybe like a year back, I had this amazing question be asked to me that was, are you afraid of success or are you afraid of failure? And when I first heard the question, I remember thinking like, it's kind of stupid. Like, who's afraid to succeed? Right? And the more I ponder on the question, like why would somebody come up with such a question, the more I realize that there is a fear of success. And it's not always about failing, that it's not always failing that we fear. I could never really put it into words exactly what it is that would always make me answer my fear of success is my biggest fear and not my fear of failure. So this question was about 2 years ago. And then last year I went through a wave of shifting changes. Everything was just, God just basically sent a crushing wave upon my life. And during this wave where I was like trying to figure out what had happened, why were things going so left, why was I going through such a down part in my life, I really did try to stay grateful for everything that I still did have. But I remember going through this phase where I constantly wanted to shift my personality. I no longer wanted to be how I was. I wanted to convey a different type of energy, and I just kept on telling myself like, maybe I'm too loud, maybe I'm too bold, maybe I'm too direct, maybe I'm not so ladylike. There was just so many things where I was, instead of trying to take myself out the dirt, just laying more dirt on me and just burying myself in it. And I'll get back to that point as to why I'm using this analogy to really describe how it felt. Recently, I rewatched the movie Coach Carter, and there is a segment where, they decide to open the gym back up, and he's like, okay, I'm going to resign because I want my kids' education to be better than the way that they play basketball, blah, blah, blah. And he walks into the gym and he sees all of his players, and one of them gives him the quote of our deepest fear. And that was a question that kept on coming back in the movie Coach Carter. What is your deepest fear, young man? What is your deepest fear? And he finally answered the question. And just a resume, I will recommend that you go watch that clip. You can honestly find it very fast on YouTube. Like, you just type Coach Carter, our deepest fear. And he basically was saying that a lot of the time, as our inner child kind of shuts down, we dim it, we bury it deep inside of us. And that authenticity that we had when we were kids slowly sheds away. And we kind of like close ourselves up. That light that we have in us, we just dim it and we replace it with something else that isn't as bright as what we initially were. And so it really was a full circle moment when I rewatched that movie, because finally I had somebody that was able to tell me how to really formulate why I would always say my biggest fear is my fear of success. I used to tell people in a way like we fail every day. We fail when we miss an appointment and we miscalculate time. We fail when we didn't tie our shoestring and we fall, and oh my God, I failed this test and I should have studied more, and da 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 da. And it's not necessarily the feel. We've encountered failure so many times that you kind of know how to deal with it. But success is such a strong emotion. Like, think back to when you got an award at school. Think back to when you won a competition. That nervousness, overwhelming feel. Sometimes it even leads to tears. I'm not saying you never, cry because of failure, but you anticipate failure more than you anticipate success sometimes. You can tell yourself, yes, I'm going to succeed, but in that moment when you're working towards that success, the amount of times you get doubt of failure. So failure, affects you more. And now you get presented with this ideology that success is what you fear, And when he said that, he was like, our deepest fear is the light in within us, right? It's shining so bright to make other people feel as though they can do what it is that you're doing. Being a trendsetter, being an influencer, And I think this is a very controversial topic. I don't really have like any advice to give on it. It's just something that I've always thought about, and I've always said to people, failure isn't something that I fear. If anything, I anticipate failure more than I anticipate, success. When I have received the award, I'm shocked. Oh my God, I know I did the work. I know that my project is successful, but I didn't think it was that successful for me to win something for it, And this accomplishment, this overwhelming aspect of like, even when you are receiving your flowers, you are receiving your credentials, you always want to shy away. Thank you so much. No, stop. And we've always been trained to kind of accept failure, take failure head on, don't be a sore loser. Oh yeah, I lost, and next time I'll come back better. The pride that we give to failure is never the pride that we accord to success. If not, when success is being graced to us, it's almost never enough. Or we become so humbled. We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to make anybody feel bad about the fact that you've won and And how would I place this? Like failure is something that you've always been taught to swallow. Okay, I failed and it's okay. We're going to go back out there. We're going to try this again. Right? With success, it's like a snowball effect. It's only when you win one time and then you want to continue winning and you want to continue winning and you want to failing doesn't have that aspect. I failed one time, I don't want to do it again. But you still doubt yourself on the way to success. There's a lot of doubting. And in all hindsight, it really is a fear of success, in my opinion. But how I'm explaining to it, it can't be as powerful as the way that it was portrayed in that movie. And I would really encourage, I'm going to put the link in the bio. You guys could click on that video and watch it, because that is one of the strongest segments of that movie that really just shows you being authentically you is so important. Like, hello, I'm going to talk about that in another video, but that was the message for today. And I hope you guys like this video. Make sure you share this video, make sure you like it, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you comment. And on that note, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.